that has come all the way from South Korea, the most connected country in the world that has deployed 4G technology since July 2011. Please welcome Mrs. Nawak, Research Professor at Korean Institute of Science and Technology.
Thank you. It's very honored to share 4G experience in Korea. So I want to thank you for those people who prepared this forum and those who stay here for listening my presentation. Oh. Yes. Until it is ready, I would like to explain about Korea a little. And it took almost 27 hours from my home to arrive in the airport. So it was a long trip. So I figured Tunisia is very far from South Korea. But we are talking about the LTE. So in that sense, we were quite close enough. So we are going to talk about the same thing. Okay. It's not connected yet? Yeah, I prepared this presentation material, so I had to look at all the material. I even look at the material from the investors, and I look at many other places documented, including the annex. And I looked at all the documents all over the world. And so I learned a lot. Even though I knew LTE, I had to prepare everything for perfect presentation here because it's quite special for me to present here because somehow I'm going to represent Korea. So I learned a lot and then I became quite proud of share the experience with you because now we are the only one country to serve LTE advanced service. So, okay. Yeah, I compared Tunisia with Korea. So I looked to the size of the land and the population, and what I learned is Tunisia is 1.5 times bigger than South Korea. Yet the population is only 1/5. So we have 5 times more people than Tunisia. And it was amazing. And the capital of Korea is Seoul. And only in Seoul, we have almost the same amount of Tunisian people. So it's amazing. So the Seoul is very much crowded. When I came here, what I found here is there is no tall buildings. And everybody said that the seven-story building is tall building. To me, oh, no way. So we have a very high building in Korea, but I learned why. Because almost the same number of people of Tunisia lives in Seoul only, Seoul metropolitan area. So, it's ready. Okay. So today, I already introduced about Korea. And then to share the experience, 4G experience in Korea, I wanted to overview the whole telecommunication system history. And then why we had to have 4G, and then what is 4G? And then I'm going to share the 4G experience in Korea, and then also I'm going to show you what kind of changes as 4G penetrates. And then I'm going to talk about a little bit other related issues. It's not working. I want to. Yeah, like I said, the lengthwise we are much smaller, so you are 1.5 times bigger. Yet, also 70% of Korea is mountain area, so there is not much area for living. So in that sense, we are very much crowded, and also the population-wise, we are 5 times bigger. And same as in Tunisia, we have the same carriers, operators. So SK Telecom is the number 1, and KT is the number 2, and LG U Plus is the number 3. Document next. Oh, I see. Okay, I'm gonna overview the mobile telecommunication system. Probably everybody knows here, but I would like to make the same ground. So for the first generation, it's just an analog system, like you know. And then second generation, it transited from analog to digital. It's the same thing. For the 2G, in the beginning, it was only for voice. So we didn't consult data. And then a little later, somebody added data for the just short message. But as time goes, many people want more, so so-called 2.5G handles data. Actually, when I was working for Samsung around 2000, I was involved in CDMA 2000 system. At that time, I was in the middle for the packet network. At that time, we demonstrated streaming service, just a demonstration. We didn't give any service, but it was the beginning for the data. And then third generation, I think most of you guys are using right now is third generation. And probably you may use UMTS here, right? But in Korea, CDMA 2000 was more popular than UMTS. And we have other bridge system. You may heard the mobile WiMAX, right? Did you deploy mobile WiMAX here? No, I don't think so. And Korea initiated this mobile WiMAX, so Korean government tried to support this technology. So they invested lots of money for the company and for the small, for many people, and they drove and drove. So mobile WiMAX was served under the name of Wipro in Korea. And actually, it was initiated by Korea, so many Korean company was involved. So not only the base station, we also made many other applications. Also, we made lots of devices to get this service. And then first generation, like we said, but what is the first generation? We include LTE and LTE Advanced. That's the descendant of UMTS. But what about the CDMA 2000? Actually, Qualcomm tried to make one, but it failed. And another 4G include WiMAX. And in the beginning, it served for the only fixed point. So it doesn't have mobility. Later, they added some kind of mobility, just moderate speed, not the high speed. So it is called mobile WiMAX. So they are the descendant of, but they just started new. What's the difference between this LTE and WiMAX? Because WiMAX is a totally new one. They are not the descendant of the 3G system. It is a totally new one. Just like something came out, and this is based on data only. Before, like here said, that the mobile WiMAX, wait a minute. Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah. So 4G here. And then why we have to use 4G? And early this morning, the person from Ericsson said, data exposure, that's the only reason. That's the major reason we have to go to 4G. And it exploded. And I'm not sure about the Tunisia, but in Korea, it's exponentially increasing nowadays. So to support this kind of exponential data explosion, what do we have to have? There are several solutions. First solution, why don't you use more spectrum? Then we could have faster speed. That's natural. But here is the minister, and here is many ICT people. Spectrum is very valuable resources. We cannot use as wide a spectrum as we want. It's very precious. So it's not easy to meet this more spectrum issue. And what about the more smaller set? You put more base station in node B in LTE. It's simple. But who's gonna pay for that? It's lots of money to install smaller sets. So third solution could be higher efficiency technology, which is 4G. So 4G came in here. Actually, with 4G, we use Wi-Fi technology all together. So to support this data explosion, we use LTE along with Wi-Fi in Korea. And another thing is, when I said first generation, it is analog. And then from the second generation, it becomes digital. But still, it was circuit-based. And then from 2G to 3G, voice was covered by circuit-based domain, but data was covered by just packet-based domain. But for 4G, we are going to cover by just packet-based domain. How come? Actually, for 3G, it was too slow to satisfy the delay requirement for voice. But 4G, it's fast enough to satisfy the voice requirement. So from 4G, it's all IP network. So from 3G to 4G, another thing is all packet switched for voice and data. Then what is 4G? What is the definition of 4G? As I mentioned before, it's all IP. You know now. But what is the definition by the ITU? Originally, ITU said a bunch of this requirement. Then only two technology was satisfied. LTE Advanced and IEEE 802.16n. There is only two technologies were satisfied. Then you might wonder, what about LTE? Actually, LTE and mobile WiMAX was considered as 3.29 generation. So they were not considered as 4G in the beginning. But there are many people from the marketplace, they started using 4G for LTE here and there. And in the beginning, I said, oh, they are cheating. It's not 4G. It's considered to be 3G. How come they are using? Well, somehow, pretty soon, ITU people say, oh, I give up. You can use whatever you want. Yeah, you can say that LTE as 4G. Actually, LTE could be considered as 4G in terms of IP-based network because it's all IP. So I think it's better to be include LTE in 4G than 3G. So now LTE and mobile WiMAX, LTE Advanced, and IEEE 802.16m are considered to be 4G. Unfortunately, IEEE 802.16m was not developed by anyone all over the world. So now I'm going to start talking about the 4G experience in Korea. So now we have the same ground. So I said mobile WiMAX is 4G initiated by Korea. Naturally, Korean government put lots of effort to deploy this first in Korea. So many companies, including Samsung, put lots of people to developing this mobile WiMAX, and they succeeded and they deployed first in Seoul and then major cities in Korea. So it was very successful. But somehow the trend in world were quite different from Korea. So LTE was getting more dominant than ever. So Korean government who pushed this technology over and over kind of had to say we have to switch it to LTE. So even though still we have a Viber service, this is only for data, not for the days, not for the voice. So it's not quite right to say it is considered to be cellular system in Korea, even though it has capability. Somehow no operator had this technology for voice. And another thing, LTE. So we started LTE service quite later. Now you figure it out why. Because the Korean government pushed the mobile WiMAX technology quite long. So we started developing LTE. So we became the 22nd in the world started this LTE service. So SK Telecom and the NGU Plus started their service in July 2011. And then a little bit later, KT started their service. And then big change occurred when this LTE service is introduced. Before, we did lots of web surfing and we did lots of audio service, but trend changed to video service. If you visit Korea, and then if you take a public transportation like bus or subway, everybody is watching streaming, real-time streaming, or online game. So it has to support video streaming, not the audio streaming. Also, younger generations in Korea kind of love online game a lot. And also, game is a big consuming area for the data service. And also, I think one of the reasons might be that in Korea, this online game industry is big. There is many companies who are developing online game, and also there is a huge community enjoys this online game. And then, as the number one in the world, we introduced LTE Advanced. First, SK Telecom introduced June 2013. So this year, so several months ago. And then LGU Plus just 1 month later. And then KT, September this year. So now all three carrier serve LTE Advanced. So look at this. And this is a LTE subscriber numbers. This is before we introduced the LTE Advanced service. Look at here. At the end of 2012, we used, and the SK Telecom has more subscriber, and they increased a lot. And somehow KT, the number two, who introduced the LTE later, win over LGU Plus. So now become KT Telecom was number one, then KT, and then LGU Plus. So about 36% of mobile users experience LTE just before LTE Advanced introduced. And this is mobile data traffic in Korea. And actually similar figure was shown before. I think I forgot who was. I think at the end, the gentleman from India showed, but it's a little bit different. He showed the percentage, not the amount. So when he showed this data traffic for the 3G decreased, in terms of the percentage it decreased, but in terms of amount it doesn't decrease that much. Instead, the amount for the 4G increased dramatically. And there is a reason for that. I could show you later if there is a time. Key technology for LTE Advanced, as you already know, is carrier aggregation. So we could say three kinds. One is intra-band continuous. So in the same band, you add two bands together. Or intra-band non-continuous, then you use two pieces of band together, but not in the neighborhood. And the third one is interband non-continuous. You use a different band. The piece, one piece from the one band, the other piece in the other band. So this is more related to the spectrum issues. So if you have a big chunk in the one band, you could use first technology. But if you don't, then you'd better have a C or B. So no choice. It happens in Korea too. For example, SK Telecom, they use one piece from one band, another piece from another band. The reason because they didn't have a big enough band in same band. On the other hand, KT has intra-band continuous carrier aggregation because they had 20 megahertz in just one band. So different company use different technology because of the spectrum they have. And LTE Advanced, as you already know, it serves 150 megabytes. When we aggregate 10 megabytes plus 10 megabytes. At this moment, only technology for the LTE Advanced is 10 megabytes plus 10 megabytes. That's the only technology available. I mean, in terms of service. Actually, you could make more speed later. Oh, let me say one thing more. And speed-wise, this is 10 times faster than 3G and 2 times faster than LTE. And the other thing is actually before preparing this presentation, I didn't understand some commercial from KT, and they said wideband LTE. But that is because they started advertising about LTE Advanced. Suddenly they said we have a wideband LTE, same as LTE Advanced. I was not able to understand why at that time of them. But when I prepared this material, I was able to understand why. I'll show you that later. And this is statistics that I would like to show you to you. And right now, LTE Advanced is covered 84 cities. So almost a major area is covered by LTE Advanced service. So what do you mean covered? In terms of Korean standard, covered means your cord shouldn't be disconnected whatever you do. So if you take an elevator, you should be able to talk. If you take a subway, yeah. If you go down to the basement to take out your car, you should. So in Korea, everywhere is connected. So actually, gentlemen from Ericsson brought the small gadget for the base station indoor. Actually, in Korea, we don't need that because everywhere is covered. But I wondered how come they could cover with LTA. Actually, there was a trick because almost everywhere is covered by 3G. So they use the 3G technology for elevator or for subway station. So most of the time you could enjoy LTE advanced service, but hidden area for the LTE advanced service, you switch it to 3G. So you have just a seamless service. So that's the key technology they used. So I was quite proud to find out that Korea is the only country who serves LTE advanced service. So one of the bad things is people in Korea become less patient than before. And what I learned is to download the 800 megabytes movie, it took less than 1 minute. Actually, to show you some movie during my presentation, I tried to download it. I was not able to finish it. It's not acceptable in Korea, sorry to say, but so even though I wanted to show you some movie, unfortunately, I'm not able to do it. And right now, we have so many LTE advanced subscribers, and actually last night, Sumaya, who invited me over here, asked the question, how come this penetration is so fast? And then in the beginning, I didn't know what to answer, and there are just so many factors. I think one of the big issue is speed, because our theme in Korea, we want faster and faster. Not only the communication, everything. If you walk slowly, then your friend will tell you, why don't you do faster? So everything should be faster in Korea. So same thing here. Just lately, at the end of November, SK Telecom had a demonstration to show you another possibility for LTE advanced. We called upgraded LTE advanced. So before, LTE advanced was carrier aggregation of 10 megabytes and another 10 megabytes. It doesn't matter whether it is in the same band or another band. But now they are aggregating 2 megahertz with 10 megahertz. Oh, this is different, sorry. Before I go to the upgraded LTE advanced, I want to talk about the wide band LTE. This is different from LTE advanced, but it provides same speed. And this was the advertisement I heard before, and I was not able to figure out what that was. And basically, it used just wider band instead of carrier aggregation. So basically, this is twice faster than typical LTE. Actually, in Korea, we call the wideband LTE. I'm not sure this is accepted worldwide. The reason we use wideband LTE because simply we use wider band than before. So in Korea right now, we use twice the wider ones, so which is 2 megahertz. So, and then advertisement keeps saying, you don't have to switch your smartphone to something else. Basically, people here in the physical layer who don't understand because it's going to cover the same area. It's just wider. So same telephone could use wideband LTE, but somehow because of the limitation, it gives a little less speed than 150. So this is to show you the difference between the LTE advanced and the wideband advanced. So both services are served in Korea. So one is LTE advanced. As I said, we are aggregating carrier 10 megahertz and 10 megahertz. So they are separated. They could be just adjacent or not. It doesn't matter. And then wideband LTE is just you have to have a big chunk, 12 megahertz. You use it just together. So this one, I put this figure to show you some spectrum issues. You may figure it out. Which one has which spectrum? Actually, in the beginning, SK Telecom just started LTE advanced. Earlier this year, I think in June or something, there was a spectrum auction in Korea. At the time, SK Telecom spent a whole lot of money to get the right spectrum for them. So they were able to start wideband LTE service, which is here. Because now they could use 20 megaband. But unfortunately, LTE Plus, they couldn't get the spectrum for the wideband LTE service. So just before me, there were representatives from the operators. They might have similar issues. So depending on what you have, you could use LTE advanced or wideband LTE. For example, KT. In the beginning, they already had a 20 megahertz band. So before they started LTE advanced, they were able to start wideband LTE to serve very high speed. Now, we are trying to speed up more. LTE advanced is not good enough for us, even though it gives you only 1 minute to download 800 megabytes movie. It's not fast enough. So they try to speed up more. So now we are going to aggregate two jump up band. One is 20 mega and 10 mega. At the end of November, SK Telecom demonstrated it works. So technically, it is working. But they are going to start this service 1 year later. Why? Can you guess why? They already built this technology. How come they are going to start 1 year later? The reason because, okay. Yes, exactly. Yeah, even though you build up the base station, that's not it. You have to have devices to use it. So actually, many operators said that they are talking about the application manufacturers. That's not the only company who you need to cooperate. The manufacturer who developed this device has a key role. Actually, I mentioned earlier about the carriers like the SK Telecom and the NG Plus and the KT. But behind them, there was manufacturers. One is Samsung, you may know, and another is LG Electronics.
Isn't this from SK speed?
Pardon?
Isn't the rush for speed like SKT for high speeds two factors, one to be not the fixed and compete with five?
Compete with
Fiber.
fiber?
SKT is mobile phone, right?
Yeah.
The reason that they are racing for higher speeds on LTE, in fact, they want to compete with the fiber that is provided by KT.
Provider of AT.
Like KT.
KT?
KT provide fiber, right?
Oh, actually, they try to do almost everything to be the world number one. Actually, to you, they look like they competing each other, but nowadays the trend has been changed a lot. So everybody try to be the number one. So probably they consider KT because KT is a competitor, but I think SK Telecom compete with Ericsson or other countries number one carrier company, I guess. And what I heard is this is the first time in the world to show you the combination of wideband LTE plus regular LTE. So we just call the upgraded LTE advanced. And last week, okay.
Excuse me, my question was more oriented towards competition between LTE Advanced and fiber. South Korea is the country which is the most connected in terms of fiber, right? And yet we see a very good success of LTE and LTE Advanced in Korea. This gives us a lesson, okay, that fixed and mobile can be complementary, coherent, to deliver service required by customers. And each one is providing probably a different service, serving a different need.
During the wired technology,
Wired with fiber, FTTH, and mobile with LTE.
actually speed-wise, and when LTE Advanced was introduced, it got much faster than wired technology. So I think the Korean people like wireless technology better. So I'm not quite sure about the answer to your question about the relationship between FDD and FDD-LTE. So, but what I learned is LTE Advanced is even faster than wired Ethernet. Because the Korean people was quite spoiled by very fast Ethernet service at home. Because almost every home is connected to the internet by Ethernet, but Ethernet service is so fast, so you could download the movie in 1 minute. But when I visited other countries, everything was just slow. But the Korean people has got used to the fast connection. But up until recently, the wireless service, this cellular service, was not fast enough for Korean people. But now it got faster. So I think the Korean consumers ask faster and faster. And then now, and then everybody started talking about further upgraded LTE Advanced. So the previous one, upgraded LTE Advanced, had a speed up to 225 bps, but now they are talking about 300 megabps by adding 3 band, 20 plus 10 plus 10. And I heard last month in Busan they had a big meeting. They talked about this issue. And what about the changes as this 4G penetrates? Definitely the context become different. Before, it was mostly audio or XLP, so it was very short content, but nowadays it's a video. I'm talking about the real-time video. You could watch a movie or drama, or you could have online games. And another big issue here is that 2012 we had only 50% of real-time entertainment, but we are expecting 67% in 2017. And so nowadays, many content providers is creating new service over this real-time streaming service. What about the devices? I brought smartphone, I brought tablet. So we have many variety of gadgets, but depending on the device you have, you use different applications. So for the bigger ones, you watch movies, but the smartphones, look at here, you do more activities on the social networking or web surfing, or you write emails. Then naturally, even though smartphones, nowadays everybody in Korea says, I want bigger ones. This is a smartphone. Samsung Galaxy Note 3, this big. And many people in Korea carry this so that you could watch video or it's easy to write emails. And also, look at the resolution. It's so precise. And also, I brought this tablet. This is Samsung Note 10.1 2014 edition. And this is also big, and also the resolution is 2560 by 1600 pixels. So everybody wants a higher resolution and a bigger screen. And what about the other issues? Actually, in Korea, Wi-Fi is all over the place. When I was in Incheon Airport, Incheon International Airport in Korea, I had seen this Wi-Fi service. Of course, it was free. I transit in Dubai Airport. I hardly was able to use their Wi-Fi. I'm not sure about here. So actually, also here today, I wanted to show you some kind of a movie, but I was not able to download. Actually, in Korea, there is 4.2 APs for each 1,000 people. This is only talking about the APs installed by these operators. I have one at home, and everybody has one at home, and also every company has a Wi-Fi communication infrastructure, and all school has this Wi-Fi structure. So once I get to KAIST, I don't have to use a cellular system for surfing or anything, because Wi-Fi is all over. And also, government to build a free Wi-Fi zone. So if you need a haircut, you go to a hair salon, there is Wi-Fi. If you go to coffee shop, there is Wi-Fi. So Wi-Fi support cellular system all together. That is why we could cover data explosion. What is another issue? And what kind of factor choose carrier? And this is quite interesting. And the first factor is phone factor, which is 36.6. This is according to the Korea Consumer Agent. So when you choose the carrier, phone is important. You check the price, if there is a promotion, if there is a government support, kind of things. And another thing is, for example, this Samsung Galaxy Note, it has function of note. So people would like to willing to pay more money to have better ones in Korea. It's quite different from other countries. And the second issue is a fee plan. Actually, when the cellular system was introduced in Korea, it spread out so quickly. one of the contributors is FitPlan, because they had a kind of a family plan or couple plan, something like that. So your subscriber recruit another person to have free communication. And the third one is quality. So somehow quality goes third, not the first. So they concern about the quality for the network, and also they concern the service quality. When they call the customer representative, whether they have kind service or not. And it's quite interesting. Korea is the number one who would like to replace their smartphone more quickly. So I think that the Korean people like up-to-date technology. They would like to experience for the first time. Yeah, I had to rush to go. So if you have questions and come to me afterwards, then I have actually other material to answer you.
Yes, many thanks for this very insightful presentation, which actually gave another point of view on what we heard this morning. So the question I want, if you can answer, what is the positioning of over-the-top, the OTT in South Korea, and how they are threatening the operators?
In part, I'm not quite sure. Yeah, I'm sorry because I cannot answer to your question, and because basically I'm a researcher rather than businessman or politicians. Because when I presented this, I wanted to show you several views as a businessman or as a politician, deal with this spectrum issue or consumers, and I tried to show you many views, but I was not able to cover your question. I'm sorry about it. So, thank you.
Thank you for your presentation. My question is about price of device that supported 4G.
I looked at some extra pages just for the possible questions.
And one of the things I found out that somehow even Samsung, this Galaxy Note 3, they sell much higher in Korea than other countries. So I think it's a marketing decision. Same device, and Korean company, they sell this device in Korea. They don't have to ship it out, but somehow they sell this amount compared to other company. The reason they use this marketing strategy because the Korean people is willing to pay to get up-to-date technology, I guess. And also in Korea, I'm not sure about Tunisia, but in Korea, the government put lots of money when you buy this device. So you have some benefit from government support. That's another issue, I think. And also, average smartphone price is much higher than other countries. Actually, in Korea, it's hard to find just a simple smartphone. Everything has so fancy because Korean people concerns more up-to-date technology with more fancy capability than prices. So I think that factor was used by company, even Samsung. So when I found out this fact, I was kind of felt betrayed by the Korean company. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Sam, for your presence and your presentation. Nous arrivons maintenant à la clôture de cette session matinale avec le discours de Monsieur le ministre des Technologies de l'Information et de la Communication, Moji Bazour, qui nous honore par sa présence.